Good afternoon, Chamber members, and welcome to the Friday video recap of this week's news and information from the COVID-19 crisis. My name is Mike Paone. I'm the Vice President of Government Affairs here at the Joliet Region Chamber of Commerce and Industry. As always, we hope you, your employees, and your businesses are doing well during these times. This week, we mainly focused on updates to the funding plans, additional discussions on CARES Act 2 package proposals, the arrival, hopefully, of the Main Street Lending Program, unemployment filing reports, and of course the big announcement of the Governor's Restore Illinois plan. Let's kick things off today with that Illinois Restore plan. Governor Pritzker has announced a reopening plan that identifies 5 phases and divides the state into 4 regions. Each phase has specific benchmarks that need to be achieved before advancing on to the next phase, which will allow less restrictions. Each region can independently move through phases as well. The entire state is currently in phase 2. The Joliet region and Will County are part of the Northeast region, along with Cook, Kankakee, Grundy, Kendall, Kane, McHenry, Lake, and DuPage counties. Here are the specifics for phase 3 to 5. As mentioned before, we are currently in phase 2. Phase 3 is also known as the recovery phase. Here, numbers need to be flat or declining. Manufacturing, offices, stores, barbershops, and salons can reopen with capacity limits. Gyms could also open for one-on-one personal training. Gatherings of 10 people would be allowed, and face coverings and social distancing still would apply. Phase 4, also known as the revitalization phase, here we would need to see numbers staying in decline. Gatherings would be able to be increased to 50 people. Restaurants and bars could reopen for on-site service, and childcare and schools could reopen with face coverings and social distancing still applied. And finally, phase 5 is the restored or fully open phase. And this would require a vaccine or highly effective treatment to be available. And here, major events, including conventions and festivals, will once again be allowed. You can see the full plan and further details on our COVID resources page located on our website at www.JolietChamber.com. Next, we'll talk about the EIDL program. Good news and bad news this week regarding the stalled SBA EIDL loans. As of right now, SBA is accepting new EIDL and EIDL advanced applications on a limited basis, but only to provide relief to the U.S. agricultural businesses. SBA should at some point resume processing EIDL applications that were submitted before the portal stopped accepting new apps on April 15th. And they will be processing these applications on a first-come, first-served basis. However, those who had applied before the current online portal opened on 3/30 should have received an email and/or letter instructing them to reapply inside this new portal. We have been told that the EIDL application portal is available to those businesses that need to reapply, in addition to the ongoing agricultural enterprise opening. For those that have an application in, we are hearing going forward that the loans will probably be capped at a total of $150,000. Next, I want to talk about the Main Street Lending Program. This program was announced, what seems like way back now, on March 23rd by the Fed, but there is still not a launch date. They have recently changed some eligibility requirements, however, for loan sizes on borrowers. For those, again, that have not been able to access the EIDL and/or PPP funds, this may be a good alternative route. As a refresher, again, the program is aimed at small and mid-sized businesses that were in good financial standing before the crisis. It is expected to run directly through federally insured depository institutions, including banks, savings associations, and credit unions. And the Fed says it will support up to $600 billion in new loans. Business owners who have received PPP loans are permitted to apply as well. This is also open to self-employed business owners and companies with fewer than 1,500 employees. Loan rates will probably be around 3%. There is, however, no forgiveness for this program, and this loan will provide funding for working capital. Let's move on to a PPP update. Original forecast had the second round of PPP money running out by today. We've got good news to report as the fund still has money to lend. However, time is certainly running out. At least 2 updates were posted this week on frequently asked questions as this program continues to share direction on how forgiveness and other items will be calculated. A number of questions that keep popping up have to do with employees not wanting to come back and if that will count against their forgiveness, the hopes that the 6/30 deadline to bring staffing levels back to normal can be adjusted, and if more than 25% can be spent on non-payroll. We are not sure if these will be altered, but there are some new bills circulating that would offer more grants for operating expenses rather than payroll relief. Next, we'll talk about the unemployment update. California has been announced as the first state to borrow federal funds to replenish their state unemployment insurance funds. Reports also show that Illinois has been approved for up to $12.6 billion in loans if needed, but the state has yet to access that borrowing program. Between March 1st and May 2nd, unemployment claims processed in Illinois now total over 1 million. The newest national reports shows that we've gone from one of the lowest all-time unemployment rates nationally of 4.4% in March to one of the worst at 14.7. Another 20.5 million jobs were lost in April countrywide. The new application portal for 1099 workers is set to open on May 11th. Workers who are eligible for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, also known as the PUA program, must first apply for regular unemployment insurance before applying for benefits under the PUA. So, companies using independent contractors need to be on the watch for these claim notices through IDES. Be sure to timely respond to IDES when your company receives the claim notice filed by the 1099 worker. To be eligible for the PUA, the independent contractor must first be denied regular unemployment insurance benefits. PUA provides 100% federally funded unemployment benefits for individuals who are unemployed for specified COVID-19 related reasons and are not eligible for the state's regular unemployment insurance program. Next, we'll move on to the CARES Act 2 update. It increasingly seems that this next package will happen for sure. The question is when. However, it does seem possibly earlier than the original estimated date of Memorial Day. Each side is digging in with their demands, and the 2 biggest ones center around money for states, counties, and cities. That package has bumped up from $500 billion to now $1 trillion. Originally, this was a push coming from Democrats, but as this week went on, some Republicans have become vocal on the need for their states as they are suffering just as equally on the financial side. The second issue centers around liability coverage, and the 4 main areas have been a focus: medical, product, exposure, and securities liability. We're already starting to hear nationally some stories of retailers and even an instance where a realtor is facing legal action. One other discussion that keeps popping up is another stimulus payment, but this one would last longer than just one check. The newest proposal pushed would be for a monthly check of $2,000 to any individual making less than $100,000 yearly. Finally, legislation has come out to cancel rent and defer mortgage. Here in Illinois, this was unveiled to protect those hurt by the COVID-19 pandemic from losing their apartments, homes, or shops through the end of 2020. Apartment rents would be canceled for 6 months and a rent freeze would also apply. Mortgage payments on homes would be able to be deferred to the end of the year as well. Property taxes are coming due soon as well, and this legislation would waive penalties for those who fail to make payment. To qualify, an individual would need to show a negative financial, medical, or other impact due to COVID-19. This includes loss of income, furlough, work reduction, or interruption due to work or school closure and/or increased household childcare or healthcare expenses. Next week, we'll be watching closely for developments on the next round of funding, as well as continued response to the Restore Illinois plan. Early feedback from our membership has not been favorable and leaves a lot wondering how attainable the benchmarks are to get their businesses reopened. Ultimately, for a number of things to occur, like the rent legislation, we will need our senators and representatives back in Springfield. I want to say thank you to our virtual conference presenters from this week, Sue Olenek of the Will County Health Department and Joliet Mayor Bob Odekirk. Their video recessions were recorded and have been posted on our COVID-19 resource page on our website. We look forward to our next virtual conference. The title is a COVID-19 report from inside our local hospitals, featuring Amita St. Joseph Medical Center's Lynn Watson, who is the Chief Nursing Officer and Vice President of Patient Care Services, and Dr. Adnan Hussein, ED Medical Director, as well as Silver Cross Hospital's CEO, Ruth Colby, and Dr. Chris Udovich, who is their Chief Medical Officer. They will talk about they'll talk about hospital safety measures, don't delay needed medical care, plans for reemergence to normal operations, lessons learned, how social distancing and masking really help, and then finally, positive COVID patient success stories. We want to wish everyone a great weekend, a happy Mother's Day, and hope that everyone stays well. Thank you.